Imagine a world where rules, hard work, and fair play guarantee success, recognition, and power. Seems just, doesn't it? Now look around. Who truly occupies the summits of influence? The most ethical or the most ruthless? Those bound by morality, or those who expertly manipulate rules to their advantage? The brutal truth is that society propagates a powerful illusion. From childhood, you've been conditioned. Good triumphs, honest effort leads to success. Justice is foundational. Yet, philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche saw reality differently, darker, more uncomfortable. For him, morality was a tool of control, a facade to keep the compliant in line while true masters seize what they want. Is it any wonder manipulators thrive? See how unscrupulous leaders dominate politics, exploitative companies monopolize markets, the selfish rise, while the naive are left behind. The game was never merit. It has always been power, and power belongs to those who grasp this before others. Nietzsche termed this the will to power, the raw, elemental force separating commanders from obeyers. Most never awaken to this, preferring the comforting lie that justice prevails. Do you still believe that? Or are you prepared to see reality, naked and raw? After this, your worldview may fracture, for the price of illumination is often the loss of comfortable delusion. 1. The Grand Deception, Unmasking a World Built on Illusions. You've been taught that justice governs, that righteous work and good conduct ensure success. But stop. Does this reflect reality? Who truly ascends? The most diligent or the most strategic? The most just or those unhesitant to manipulate? Society operates on a convenient falsehood, the illusion of meritocracy. The concept is simple. Do right, follow rules, dedicate yourself honestly, and reward will follow. Nietzsche saw this as a construct designed to keep the masses docile and the powerful secure. History, unblinkingly observed, is not written by the most just, but by the most relentless. Consider Rome. Did it achieve unparalleled ancient dominance by being fair? No. It conquered, destroyed civilizations, enslaved peoples, and crushed all opposition. The United States. Did it become a superpower solely through ethical means? Its rise involved wars, exploitation, and economic domination. In the corporate sphere, did Amazon, Google, or Apple reach the apex by charity? They grew by eliminating competitors, manipulating markets, and prioritizing expansion above most moral qualms. This system isn't a mistake. It's often designed this way. Philosopher Michel Foucault noted that power is rarely distributed fairly. It's accumulated, concentrated, and fiercely protected by its possessors. The idea of a just world is a useful narrative. Convincing people that success springs from goodness and hard work is the surest way to prevent rebellion against the game's true owners. Nietzsche went further, identifying traditional morality, humility, sacrifice, resignation, not as universal truth, but a mechanism of the weak to constrain the strong. He called this slave morality. It glorifies submission and demonizes power. Those who follow it believe ambition is wrong. Seeking greatness is arrogance, challenging the system immoral. But this mentality primarily serves to keep the true lords in command. Conversely, those rejecting this for what Nietzsche called master morality are often seen as cruel, arrogant, dangerous. Yet they shape history. They don't ask permission. They impose their will, create their own rules. They don't wait for justice. They take what they desire. This is why so many good people remain trapped, while the relentless dominate. Some believe in rules. Others break them. Some await recognition. Others impose their presence. Some decry injustice. Others exploit it. Will you cling to comforting dogma or face the truth? 2. The Primal Engine, Understanding the Will to Power. If one idea defines Nietzsche's philosophy, it's the will to power. For him, everything biology, politics, individual desires, social structures is driven by a singular essential force, the impulse to dominate, expand, and impose one's will. The modern illusion is that people seek happiness, peace, or harmony. Nietzsche deemed this a convenient lie. What truly motivates is not comfort, but ascent. Every life form struggles to grow, conquer, assert itself. The lion killing to rule its territory, the CEO crushing competitors to expand an empire, the politician manipulating to retain power. All are manifestations of this brute force. Here's the detail separating winners from losers. Most have this impulse repressed. Since childhood, you're taught to contain desires, be humble, respect imposed limits. You're conditioned to believe wanting more is wrong, seeking power dangerous, ambition synonymous with greed. Meanwhile, those who understand don't just accept this impulse. They cultivate it. Nietzsche believed great conquerors, revolutionary artists, immortal leaders were those unafraid of their will to power. They didn't await permission, conform to slave morality's rules, or cling to abstract justice or goodness when these hindered realizing their potential. This brings a fundamental point. Power is not given. It's not a prize for diligence or rule following. Power is taken. History shows true victors weren't those awaiting recognition, but those who imposed their presence. Did Alexander ask permission to conquer empires? Did Napoleon wait for a throne to be handed him? He seized it. Did Steve Jobs seek approval to reinvent technology? He ignored critics and executed his vision. The difference between commanders and obeyers is simple. One understands the world belongs to those who impose their will. The other believes a fair system will eventually reward them. This applies everywhere. In workplaces, is the most dedicated always promoted? Or is it the one who sells themselves better, takes credit, plays the power game? In business, aggressive, strategic, even manipulative companies dominate, while fair players are often crushed. Nietzsche saw this not as a systemic flaw, but its essence. The world isn't made to be fair. It's a battlefield where only those embracing their will to power can shape reality. The truth few dare face. If you don't impose your will, someone else will. If you don't define your values, others will impose theirs. If you don't play to win, you're merely a pawn in another's game. What will it be? 3. The chains of goodness, deconstructing slave morality. What truly traps most in mediocrity? The morality imposed by the system. Since childhood, be humble, avoid conflict, put others first, follow rules. You were told being good is the path to success, that ethics and kindness guarantee reward. Nietzsche unmasked this. Traditional morality isn't universal truth. It's a control mechanism, keeping the weak submissive and the strong contained. Think, who defined rules deeming ambition bad? Who decided wanting more is selfishness? Who implanted the idea that desiring power is evil? Simple, those already at the top. The dominant societal morality is slave morality. It glorifies submission, obedience, renunciation of self-interest. It teaches that peaceableness is virtue, accepting hardship is character, rejecting power desire is evolved. But who truly benefits? Not those following these rules. This morality was brutally, yet ingeniously, created by the weak to protect themselves from the strong. Powerless people fear those with power, so they invent narratives demonizing ascendance. Religious leaders preached humility and sacrifice as virtues, promising otherworldly rewards while often amassing worldly power. Governments preach justice and equality, yet manipulate laws to maintain their own dominance. Nietzsche contrasted this with master morality, the morality of the strong world shapers, those unafraid to embrace their desires. For them, ambition isn't suppressed, it's fuel. The desire to grow and dominate isn't shameful, it's life's essence. They don't live to please others but to expand their own power. Now look at history's game changers. Were they those resigned to societal rules, or those who dared challenge everything? Did Julius Caesar accept the Senate's limitations? He destroyed them, becoming dictator. Did Napoleon accept being a mere army officer? He seized power, rewriting Europe's order. Did Steve Jobs accept standard technology? He imposed his vision, redefining an industry. The problem: born into slave morality, you don't realize its limits. You feel guilty for wanting more, wrong for desiring power, fear being seen as arrogant for standing out. You've always been told good means lowering yourself, submitting, being content with little. Nietzsche saw this as a sickness, believing humans should seek maximum potential, break oppressive moral chains, embrace true nature. How much of your potential has been stifled by these invisible chains? Are you a lion convinced it's a sheep, living a life far below your innate capacity for strength and self-determination? The bars of this cage are forged from shoulds and should-nots you never critically examined. Who authored them? And more importantly, whose purpose do they truly serve? 4. The art of ascendancy, strategy, silence, and self-mastery. If power were mere domination, ruthlessness alone would ensure eternal success. But history shows those who rise often fall brutally. What guided them to victory often destroys them. Nietzsche saw this as an inevitable cycle for those lacking balance between strength and wisdom. The inability to control one's emotions is a fatal flaw. Most act on impulse, react instinctively, cling to romantic ideals. Nietzsche saw this as weakness. Those who master power first master themselves. Observe history. The most influential weren't always the most just or intelligent, but the most strategic. While most exhaust themselves trying to convince others they're right, true winners observe, analyze, and act only when opportunity is perfect. Most confuse strength with impulsiveness, reacting to every attack, fighting every battle. That's what the weak do. True strategists choose battles wisely, knowing every action needs purpose. Wasting energy on pointless conflicts is self-sabotage. Nietzsche understood power belongs to those who play human psychology. Most are predictable. Anger meets anger, fear meets fear. Power masters do the opposite, using patience as a weapon, calmness as a shield, silence as a tool for control. Julius Caesar knew his rise depended on mass loyalty. Every military victory reinforced his image as an unbeatable leader. He didn't waste time arguing or justifying. Results spoke. When enemies attacked politically, he didn't react impulsively. He waited, bought time, built alliances, then destroyed adversaries decisively. In the modern world, logic is similar. Successful CEOs aren't just the hardest workers, but those who know when to act and when to wait. Powerful people aren't the loudest, but those who speak less and observe more. Most err by spending energy proving something. True power isn't convincing others you're strong, but making them feel your strength silently. Nietzsche saw this as personal mastery. Those controlling their emotions control others' reactions. Unaffected by insults or attacks, they turn adversaries' frustration into weakness. The great lesson. In power's game, the cool-headed win while others despair. While most act on impulse, true masters wait, observe, and strike precisely. Impulsiveness is slavery to circumstance. Self-mastery is the foundation of command. Will you be a pawn of your passions, or the architect of your calculated ascent? The chasm between these states is the difference between fleeting reaction and enduring influence. 5. The precipice of power, the seduction of hubris, and the inevitable fall. If power were solely about strategic domination, the ruthless might reign eternally. Yet, history's stage is littered with the wreckage of an recurrent tragedy. Those who claw their way to power's zenith often plummet in the most devastating fashion. The very traits that fueled their ascent, audacity, ambition, a capacity for decisive, even brutal action, frequently become the architects of their ruin. Nietzsche recognized this not as arbitrary fate, but an almost gravitational pull for those who fail to alloy strength with profound wisdom and unblinking self-awareness. Consider Julius Caesar. He conquered Rome through cunning, vision, and an uncanny ability to manipulate allies and foes. Yet, the Senate he politically neutered turned on him. Caesar fell not to a foreign enemy, but to daggers wielded by those who once supported him, some he considered friends. His unceasing drive for absolute control, his increasing disdain for the old forms, bred too many powerful, resentful enemies. He began to believe his own legend of invincibility, and in that hubris, lost sight of the daggers being sharpened in the shadows. Napoleon Bonaparte's trajectory mirrors this tragic arc. He seized a continent with unparalleled military genius and ambition, but this same ambition, unmoored from restraint, metastasized into a blinding arrogance. He didn't know when to consolidate, when to cease his relentless expansion. His invasion of Russia, against all sober advice, was a testament to an insatiable quest for more, leading directly to his Grande Armée's annihilation and his own ignominious exile. His brilliance was undone by his inability to set limits to his own desires. This pattern is not confined to ancient history. Look at the corporate titans of our era. Jeff Skilling of Enron engineered an empire built on manipulated markets and accounting fraud, appearing untouchable until the elaborate deception collapsed, landing him in prison. Elizabeth Holmes of Theranos promised a medical revolution, seducing investors with a grand vision fueled by lies and forged results, her ambition for iconic status leading to her conviction. The lesson is immutable. Ruthlessness untempered by control, ambition unchecked by wisdom, inevitably consumes even the most powerful. Nietzsche understood that absolute power often acts as a hallucinogen, inducing a profound blindness. When individuals believe they transcend rules, are immune to downfall, their strength unassailable, they cease to perceive risk. They underestimate opponents, carelessly create enemies, and make errors they would have scorned in their ascent. By the time reality intrudes, it's often too late. Is there an escape from this cyclical fall? Nietzsche pointed to one: balance. A true master of power is not only strong but profoundly wise. They grasp that winning is but half the endeavor. The other is knowing when to halt, consolidate, and discern when to eliminate an enemy versus transforming them into an asset. Those who fall mistake power for invincibility, rising until the sheer weight of their arrogance brings them crashing down. Power's summit is a precarious place, demanding not just the strength to climb, but the wisdom to remain. 6. The Alchemist's Formula, forging true dominion through balanced strength. It should now be undeniably clear. This world is no fairy tale where virtue is its own automatic reward. Power doesn't inherently favor goodness. It responds to strategic intelligence, boldness, and the capacity to play by the game's true rules or courageously rewrite them. But does this mean abandoning all morality, becoming an unrelenting tyrant? That's the trap many fall into, a misreading that leads to self-destruction. Power, wielded as a mere weapon, ultimately devours its wielder. Nietzsche never advocated blind tyranny. He saw power as an instrument of transformation, a means to forge one's path without succumbing to greed or destruction. The true victor isn't one who merely seizes power, but one who maintains it. This demands a delicate alchemy, balancing strategy with emotional intelligence, knowing when ruthlessness is essential and when calculated generosity serves better, when to attack and when to retreat, when to silence enemies and when to make them useful. Most people live in extremes. Some are perpetually exploited, believing their goodness will be rewarded. Others, awakened to power's reality, plunge into destructive brutality, becoming victims of their own paranoia. There is a third way, the path of those who understand the game but refuse to be consumed by it. They learn to wield power with precision, not indiscriminate force, understanding that true strength is self-mastery, not domination of others. Lasting influence is built on a complex interplay of respect, strategic advantage, and perceived value. They harness their will to power not to inflict suffering, but to create, build, overcome, and elevate themselves and potentially others aligned with their vision. The great truth is this: you can live believing in storybook justice and remain a pawn, or you can accept reality, learn power's authentic rules, and consciously decide how to play. If this exploration has unsettled your view, its purpose is emerging. The journey into power's nature is not for the timid, but essential for those refusing to be passive spectators in their own lives. The world is a complex, often unforgiving arena. Its rules aren't always fair or evident, but they are scrutable. The question isn't whether you're in power's game, you are by existing. The question is how you will play. Will you accept comfortable lies, your destiny shaped by others? Or will you dare understand power's dynamics, cultivate strategic wisdom, and forge your path with open eyes, courage, and a commitment to wielding your influence with intention and balanced strength? The game is perpetual. Your move. What will you build, strive for, or allow to be taken by those who understand its currents better than you? The ensuing silence is where your true choices begin.